Hello everyone, it's your favorite axiologist and genealogist of morals. Coming back at you with a video that I wanted to do today on the concept of pity. And I first want to talk about it just as a human being, and then I'll talk about it specifically as a disabled person and how I think people misuse it as a general value feeling and sentiment. And yeah, so I know I'm probably gonna disappoint some sons and daughters of Zarathustra and Dionysus when I say this, but yeah, I think pity is just like with all other emotions, all value feelings, it's very important. And if you sort of think about it evolutionarily, it makes sense why pity exists. It helps further the species by the fact that pity is one of those emotions that can quickly draw you to defend or help your fellow man when in situations that require that sort of fast acting action on behalf of another person. Or even in a more social sense. But yeah, just think about it. Like, if you're driving and by a body of water, let's say, and you notice that someone is drowning, that's when your pity activates. Or if you see just some general injustice, your pity activates you, and in that moment you're probably gonna be like, wow, I need to go help that person. Or if you're like in a car crash or accident, and we hear it all the time of random people pulling people out of car wrecks and stuff like that. That's where pity comes in handy, because it activates some form of sympathy, which gets your whole body going, right? And so yeah, it's definitely valuable. I don't think any person, unless they were like they had some sort of personality disorder, would dispute that. But where it really gets more complicated is on the subject of disability, because as a disabled person, pity is probably the emotion with which I have the most experience. Even in my short 25 years of life, people have always pitied me. And specifically when it comes to my relationships with people, whether that be, sexual. I've never been in a romantic relationship. I've been in a sexual relationship with a woman, but not a romantic one. Or friendship, and it's because people misuse pity, and they they might have pity activate them towards some good deed in the short term, but then what ends up happening is that you end up realizing that pity is not a good foundation for any sort of interpersonal relationship, but people take it as it is just to make themselves feel better. And in my opinion, that's a misuse of pity. Pity, to me, happens in those sorts of situations like I talked about before, that through the medium of an emotional response, kick your body into gear in order to help a person or help your fellow human. And for the disabled, it doesn't happen like that. We've become culturally pitied, so what ends up happening is that people don't really see us as even capable of having strong relationships or even worthy of that. And that's, honestly, guys, that's the dark side of pity, the sort of more profound side of pity that people don't like to talk about in our society. And, I think that's really why a lot of disabled people have just like very little tolerance for it, because we know, just not even explaining the history or genealogy of it, just through experience, that it's more of a tool for people to make themselves feel better without actually having to change their character. Now, what does a more permanent change in character look like with pity? In other words, how can you take pity from being, sort of this, let's call it a one-time use sentiment, into being a more permanent change of character for yourself? Well, you show it through continual change and continual commitment to the thing that made you feel pity in the first place. And so gradually, that feeling of pity gets replaced with compassion and respect. See, in our society a lot, I think because of the influence of Christianity, that second step doesn't happen. It's not enough to just either have good actions or good intentions. You need to have both. Both. But yeah, anyway, guys, there's your brief genealogy and transvaluation of the concept of pity. I hope that helped you realize some stuff. See you guys.